Hello and welcome to Nice and Blunt. It's Saturday, February 7th. What time better than 4:20 p.m.? This is Nice and Blunt. This is for contractual obligation reasons, for copyright purposes, we're going to refer to tomorrow's game as the big game or the superb owl. I do not want to get into legal trouble. And a reminder, we are an Underdog partner. So before I go, there is a promotion at the top of this video, and this graphic, I believe, helps me illustrate it the best. I apologize if I do not understand it in totality myself, but I would like to do the folks over at Underdog my best service. So I'm going to read the copy, stick with me, and later on in the video, I will reveal my personal picks for the Super Bowl. But first, a quick promotion from Underdog. Our flagship promo for the big game, the big reveal, is officially live. Underdog users can choose a player to reveal whether they've unlocked a gimme pick, followed by a booster builder tied to the big game. Submitting a boosted entry unlocks an even bigger boost on the next one, all the way up to 60%. I gotta be honest, I was confused reading this, but my understanding is this. Once you start using the boosts, you unlock a bigger one, 10 to 25 to 40 to 50, up to 60%, all leading up to the big game. That, I believe, is the best way I can articulate it. There is another graphic I would like to show you real quick, and this one you've probably seen before. This one I think is a little bit more obvious. Let's make this one bigger. The big reveal. Choose your player and see if you get a gimme pick. New customers using promo code BLUNT, play your first 5 and get 75 in bonus entries. That is the main deal I would like to promote. This is the one I understand the most. This is the most obvious. Use code BLUNT if you're a new Underdog customer, and the link is in the description. Once you play your first $5, you will get an extra 75 in bonus funds. So I will show you my entry later on, but now that all of that is out of the way, let us move on to the main event. Let us refer to the big game in question on Sunday afternoon. We have the Seahawks versus the Patriots for all the marbles. The poll had about 1,500 answers. 1,500 people answered the poll over the last week. On the channel, I asked you, who do you think will win? The Seahawks have received 74% of the vote. Massive favorites. The point spread maybe doesn't quite align with this. The point spread is only 4.5. This type of margin would suggest that the Seahawks should be favored by at least a touchdown, if not like 10 points. But remember, a Super Bowl is a very weird thing. There's always weird shit that happens during the Superb Owl. Just think of Justin Timberlake whipping out Janet Jackson's titty back in the day. Weird shit happens during this game. So I don't think it will be as obvious as people think. I think it's a little bit closer of a game than we might predict. And so far, I've asked you in the poll during this live stream is in conjunction with the poll over the week. 75% currently is taking the Seahawks minus 4.5 to cover the spread over the Patriots. So will that happen? I'm not quite convinced. I've literally bet against the Patriots 3 times in a row this playoff cycle and been wrong all 3 times. I thought the Chargers, my favorite team, was a better roster than the Patriots. They did not have the better offensive line, but I still thought they had the better overall roster. I was wrong. The O-line was the major weakness. The Chargers looked like shit. Then I did take the Texans out of spite to beat the Patriots. I do not want to see the Patriots win. And of course I was wrong. I thought that their run game was worse than the Patriots, but they still had the better team. CJ Stroud threw like 4 interceptions, and that game really never had a shot to go to Houston. So that one was an L. And then sadly, despite thinking the Broncos had the better team, I knew they had the worst quarterback and picked the Broncos anyway. Jarrett Stidham threw a backwards pass, and that fumble led to the Patriots' only touchdown. They won the game by 3 points. So weird shit has been happening. The Patriots' path here is rather odd. They had one of the easiest schedules in NFL history, at least in the last 30 years. going into the playoffs. It got them the 2 seed, and then they made the most of their opponents. Their defense has looked awesome. Let's not pretend like their defense is not legit. That has been the main story, in my opinion. The offense has not really impressed me. Drake May has had a lot of turnovers. The weather was a huge problem in Denver. The quarterback that they faced was also really mediocre, not a real starter, hadn't even thrown a pass in 2 fucking years. Patriots, I feel, are a little lucky to be here. Like, even if the refs didn't call that interception by the Broncos what it was, then we might have gotten the Bills in the Super Bowl. The Bills against the Patriots probably would have gone a little bit differently. So a lot of shit in the Patriots' favor, some weird voodoo. Maybe they're just lucky. Maybe it's destined. Maybe they're just that good. So I do not want to dismiss them entirely. Things could happen that I do not want to happen. But if you are not rooting for the Seahawks and you didn't grow up a Patriots fan or like in Massachusetts, in New England, then what the fuck are you doing? Like, seriously, why the fuck would you want the Patriots to win? We've witnessed a 20-year dynasty that we are finally happy to be over with, only to witness a 7-year dynasty with the Chiefs. You really telling me right now you want to go back to the fucking Patriots dynasty? Fuck that shit. I don't want that shit to happen. So I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to pick them. I do not want to do it. My intuition says I might be wrong here, but I'm taking Seattle to win 27-23. They're the better team all season. I thought the NFC had way better rosters, teams up and down the board all throughout the year. I thought the Seahawks and Rams were the 2 best teams in the league all season long. If the Seahawks lose, it's going to be very, very disappointing. I'm picking them to win, but I'm not picking them to blow them out, baby. I do not think grabbing the Seahawks to cover is the right choice. So my final prediction, I believe the Seahawks will find a way. They will get it done. They will win 27-23. If they don't, I'm going to be pissed. I will be annoyed if they do not win. But I think some weird shit's going to happen. I think Sam Darnold is going to shit the bed a little bit. I ultimately don't trust Sam Darnold to play so well that they're going to blow them out. I really don't. So maybe a Christian Gonzalez interception, maybe a Travion Henderson house call. Something odd is going to happen that's going to keep the Patriots in the mix. It will be a 1-possession game at the 2-minute warning. I do not think this game is going to be a blowout whatsoever. I do not think you should take Seattle to win by at least 5. I am not convinced that's going to happen. I really do not think that is a wise investment. So I am still taking Seahawks money line. I'm taking them to win the game straight up. But I think the Patriots can cover. Let's take them plus 4.5. And let's also hit the over. I could see an under on the point total. 46 points is achievable, but a little bit hard to hit. I am going to give it to Seattle. They'll have 3 touchdowns and 2 field goals to give them 27 points. Meanwhile, the Patriots will go a little bit field goal heavy in the first half. They'll have 3 on the game, and a combination of 2 touchdowns will give them 23 points, and hopefully a final drive touchdown. Sam Darnold will get the job done. I am taking the Seahawks to win. I really hope I am not disappointed, but I got to be honest with you. Watching the Patriots in the first 3 rounds in the playoffs has made me a little bit discouraged. I am not excited to watch them win again. I don't think they will, but I don't want to put it past them. I do not think they're getting blown out at all. Their defense has stepped up, and ultimately I just don't trust Sam Darnold enough to play 4 perfect quarters of football. He's going to make some mistakes and let the Patriots hang around, and I hope we do not see some Malcolm Butler level interception on the final play of the game. Let Kenneth Walker just punch it in. Let Kenneth Walker be the Super Bowl MVP. As long as Walker puts up the stat line to win that award, I think the Seahawks will win. If it's going to be in the hands of Darnold, I'm not as confident. And honestly, I could see some weird shit happen. Watch like Christian Gonzalez have like 2-3 interceptions in this game, and one of them is like a pick 6, and he's the MVP of this game. Something weird is going to happen. I do not think it's as straightforward as some of you may think, but I will take the Seahawks just because I just can't bring myself to root for the Pats. I'm not going to put any money down on the Pats to win this game. So I will take the Seahawks money line, but I would not be shocked at all. I'll take the Pats to cover. And then I'll take the over on the point total. Give me a 27-23 victory by Seattle. I sure hope it's a bigger blowout. I do not want to be on the edge of my seat in the final 2 minutes with the Pats driving down the field to get the win. I'm worried about Travion Henderson quite a bit, but he hasn't been that involved. It's been Ramondre, and hopefully Ramondre fumbles it away. I would really love to see Ramondre cough up this game. So that's what I'm personally rooting for. Will it happen? Who knows? My record in the playoffs has been pretty inaccurate. I've been not on the right side of what has occurred. So that is my game prediction. I hope you enjoyed the segment, but one final reminder, we will give you a quick preview on my picks, my higher, lower projections in this game. But one final reminder, use promo code BLUNT. If you're a new customer to Underdog, the link is in the description. Once you enter your first $5, you will get $75 in bonus funds. And there is currently a promotion going on Underdog called the Big Reveal, where you choose your player and see if you get a gimme pick. So good luck to you. I hope you get that promotion. I hope you get the gimme pick. That definitely comes in handy. However, if you are not quite sure how to spend that first $5 in order to get the bonus funds, you could trail my picks. And this is what I'm putting down on the big game tomorrow. I'm putting down $5. I've also used a 30% profit boost token. So some of this is inflated with this token. But if I am correct, my payout will be $201.95 on this $5 entry. Our multiplier is going to be over 40x of our initial buy-in. These are the picks. I'm taking the veterans in this game to find the end zone. Give me a Hunter Henry touchdown. The Seahawks have been excellent in the secondary. They've covered wide receivers really well this year, and it does appear that Nick Emanwari will be active. So their weakness in the passing game has been the tight end position. We've seen major stat lines out of tight ends. The safer play would to be hitting the higher on yardage for Hunter Henry. The Seahawks have surrendered over 60 yards per game to the tight end position, but some of that might go to Austin Hooper. Some weird shit will happen. I believe Hunter Henry at this stage of his career is going to be hungry. The moment's not too big for him. I think he will deliver in prime time. Give me Hunter Henry touchdown. I believe Hunter Henry is finding the end zone. Drake May's favorite target dating back to his rookie season. On the Seahawks side of the ball, let's give Cooper Kupp a touchdown in this game. He's a former Super Bowl MVP. He knows what it takes to win. He will not fall off in this moment. The moment is not too big for Cooper Kupp. So I believe he has what it takes. The multiplier is an extra 43% on this pick. I'm feeling lucky, and I think Cooper Kupp has what it takes to show up when it matters most. Give me a touchdown for Cooper Kupp and a touchdown for Hunter Henry. I also believe Drake May is not going to be asked to do too much. If you've looked at his playoff stats, he has not thrown over 30 passes in a single playoff game. They might be trailing. I might get screwed by the game script in this, but I believe they will put the ball in the hands of the running backs a little bit more, and I do not think Drake May will be throwing it like crazy. So this one is a little bit dicey, but I'm going to hit the lower on volume. It doesn't matter if they're completed passes, interceptions, or touchdowns. I just think the volume of passes for Drake May will be under 31. I think they want to drain the clock as much as possible. The only path for victory, I think, is if the Patriots dominate time of possession and keep the Seahawks off the field. So in all honesty, this is one of my most confident predictions of the 5. I like this one quite a bit. Not the most of them all, but I do think this one is relatively safe in my opinion. I also think Kayshon Boutte is going to be asked to deliver down the field. I think he can hit on this on just one reception. But in the playoffs, the target volume for Kayshon Boutte has been significantly high. Last time we saw him, he had 6 targets, only 1 reception, but a lot of those targets are down the field. I think Drake May, who's a pretty good deep ball thrower, will connect on at least one. I think they'll be a little more focused with Stephon Diggs, and I think Kayshon Boutte can get down the field, get open for at least 32 plus yards in this game. If he has 3 catches, I think this one will automatically hit, but I genuinely think if he only has 1 reception, it's possible to hit, and if he has 2, the odds are pretty likely. I like Kayshon Boutte to go over 31.5 receiving yards. But if there's one pick I like the most, I think the best lock of them all, it's the Kenneth Walker receiving projection. I think he will go over 21.5 receiving yards. Throughout the playoffs, he's been dominant, catching at least 3 receptions in every single game, and he's usually giving you about 30 plus receiving yards in those matchups. So I do believe he will be critical. With no Zach Charbonnet, I do feel pretty confident that the volume will be pretty high for Walker in the overall touches in this game. Volume will be important. A lot of those are rush attempts, but targets will go to Kenneth Walker. He is dynamic, especially after the catch, and I do believe he will contribute in the passing game enough to hit. So I was tempted to boost this line. The payout for 30 receiving yards is tempting. He's done it almost every single game these playoffs, but I don't think it's worth it. The extra boost in payout is only about 23%, and because I'm already getting 43% on top of this with Cooper Kupp, I just want to play it safe. We need all 5 to hit. I want to keep the line low on Kenneth Walker. So these are the projections I believe will work out in this game. All 5 have to be accurate. If I do not hit all 5, I get nothing. So understand that before you put your money down. I want to stress this multiple times this year. If you are going to put any money down, make sure it's not money you cannot afford to lose. Budget wisely and pay attention to the risk. All 5 have to hit. If you're feeling lucky like I am, trail my picks. These 5: Hunter Henry touchdown, Cooper Kupp touchdown, Drake May less than 31 pass attempts, Kayshon Boutte 32 or more yards, and Kenneth Walker with at least 22 or more receiving yards. That is the combo to turn $5 into 202. I hope it works out, but historically, I have not been super accurate on these on the channel. Just keeping it real, keeping it 100. I am optimistic, but mainly I'm more interested in an entertaining game, and this helps me find it more entertaining. That is my take on it. So just one last promo, one final reminder. I'm not going to belabor this point any longer. Promo code BLUNT gets you $75 in bonus entries after you play your first 5. New customers, hit the link in the description, and you will also be privy to the big reveal. Choose your player and see if you get a gimme pick. But most importantly, for BestBall purposes, play your first $5 and get 75 in bonus entries. So that is it. That is it for the main stream, but this live is not over. I'm going to take a quick rip from the pipe, and then we will be drafting on Underdog, and then I will log off. I'm going to do one big board, and then I will say goodbye. I'll check the chat before we do that. But if you're recurring to this channel, if you've been here before, then you've seen this drop many times, and you know exactly what it means. If you have anything to smoke, join me if you would like. All right. Feels good to be done. I don't really love the promos. I don't really love reading from the copy, but it is what it is. Underdog's been good to me. Got to be good to them. And hopefully I did that as legally as possible. Hopefully I did. But let me get your comments here up on the screen real quick. I want to get back to the chat before we get to a draft. And let's see how the poll's going. The poll has increased in favor of the Seahawks. The poll is now at 79%. The Seahawks are expected to cover according to the audience. But Scott Young is in here. Good evening, Scott. Good to see you. And taking gigs is also in here. What's up, Adam? He's taking the Pats straight up. So bold decision. I kind of like it. I don't think it's that disgusting. I think some weird shits will happen. I think it is possible. They just win. But Who Hames says exactly $5 minimum. You can go $5 first, 4, and more on last as well. Gotcha. Thank you for the clarification, Who Hames. All of those boosted picks have a $5 minimum to them. Shanzo Gonzo also has a little action on the Pats plus 4.5. Not overly confident It's going to be a weird game, but I do think it'll be close, and that's where I do think 4.5 is a good enough number. Like 4.5 is a weird, odd number. Like it might as well be 6.5. There aren't that many numbers, games that end with just like a 5-6 point margin. So I think getting more than 3.5 is definitely. I think against the spread, I do like the Pats to cover personally. But Jamie's in here. Bonne soirée as well. Kijo also in here. Good night to you. Huhaim says Underdog has a flash 40% boost right now. Ends in 30 minutes. Check it out if you would like. Huhaim's also saying my playoff bags hopes is Travion touchdown. I don't think it's likely. I almost offered the Travion touchdown, but they've really been non-committal to Travion in the playoffs so far. I guess they just don't trust his pass protection, but he's very rarely on the field, and Ramondre is clearly their guy. I think if you're going to take a rushing touchdown to hit, I would much rather go with either Kenneth Walker or Ramondre Stevenson than Travion Henderson. It's tempting because the payout is huge, but I think it's a little too risky for my liking. But Jamie says, well, when the Browns left back in the day, I was in high school and the Patriot was our mascot, so I rooted for them pre-Tom Brady. So that could be a reason for me to root for them, but I'm not. If you rooted for them before Tom Brady, I think you have an exception. But as someone who grew up introduced to football by someone that grew up in Maine, my Uncle Tom introduced me to football back in the early 2000s. The Patriots were the team that was on the television. So I was just like ingrained to be a Pats fan. They were winning. It was easy. But once I went to college and lived in Boston, I dropped that shit as quick as I could. I don't like associating with other Patriots fans. No offense, but y'all are obnoxious as fuck. Y'all are way too spoiled. And as someone who is just perennially cursed, I kind of like the Chargers a little bit. I'm a Laker fan. I'm a Dodger fan. Imagine how obnoxious I would be if I was also a diehard Patriots fan. Fuck that. Go Seahawks. Definitely rooting for Sam Darnold to get the ring. But Fancy Dog, number 10, like, appreciate you. Anyone that's in here, if you haven't hit the like button yet, do me a favor. Hit that button, helps out the stream, helps out the exposure. We're up to 13 likes, 25 people, and we would love for some more likes on the video. Once we hit 15 likes, I'll head over to the lobby, we'll do the live stream, but at least get me to 15 likes. We should get at least 15 likes. Let's go. Fancy Dog says, when the Browns left, I'm quit watching the NFL for 10 years. 10 years, bro. That's too long. But Huhaim's got a gimme pick of JSN for 0 yards. That's pretty dope. But that's kind of the only way I'm going to hit the higher on JSN. I honestly don't like the projection of like 96 yards for JSN. I honestly think it's a little bit risky. So if you can get 0 yards, that's awesome. You're betting under on Walker rushing and over on his receiving. I would agree. I love the higher on the receiving. The rushing scares me. The Pats, if they can defend something, it's the run. That's where I'm worried about the Seahawks' time of possession. I am a little bit worried that the Pats stopped the run too well. Like Hampton couldn't run the ball at all. Neither could the Texans. That was pretty brutal in the run game. And then RJ Harvey was pretty inept as well 2 weeks ago. So I am a little worried about Kenneth Walker being very ineffective from a run standpoint. He runs backwards a little too often for my liking. I think that's why they give Charbonnet the rock so much, because Charbonnet is just fucking going downhill. Charbonnet is always picking up yardage. Walker takes some risk. He backs up a little bit, tries to be cautious and like time it correctly, and then sometimes he gets tackled for like -3, -4. I've seen him lose like 9 yards before. Walker, I'm a little bit worried, could not be as effective from a yards per carry standpoint. But Fancy Dog also rooting for Darnold to get the MVP. Peppertoni, not enough people are saying this. What did I say? I've already forgot. We're already high enough to forget. But Huhaim says, I believe the Pats only allowed one guy all year over 50 yards. Not for sure, but I know that was true up to like week 12. That sounds fairly accurate. I'm actually going to look at that real quick. I'm not going to have like individual stats, but we'll look to my defensive stats that I've referenced all throughout the season when we were trying to make some predictions. In terms of overall rushing yards given up to opponents, the season high by the Patriots is 158 in week 17. Interestingly enough, in the final few weeks of the season, they did start giving up a lot of rushing yards. That doesn't sound correct. I feel like that stat I fucked up on. I think I messed up on that one. But before their week 14 bye, their season high for like rushing yards that they allowed was 114 in week 4. Otherwise, they gave up 46 rushing yards to their opponent in week 1, 38 in week 2, 63 in week 3. They gave up only 60 rushing yards in week 5, 52 in week 6, 40 total in week 8. In week 9, the Patriots defense only allowed 19 rushing yards total. They have a great run defense. I would be a little worried about overwhelmingly hitting the higher on Kenneth Walker and his rushing stats. That could be a problem. Who knows? Maybe George Holani will get the rock as well. But we'll be hopping into a best ball draft very shortly. We got Shanzo Gonzo saying, I think Vrabel can be successful at limiting JSN and the run. Shaheed needs to make some plays for Seattle. I agree with this. If Shaheed is not popping off on special teams, I'm a bit worried. Like, the contributions from Shaheed on special teams, they don't show up in the stat line, but they are such big swings in terms of momentum. It's such a big deal to have a 13-second drive that results in a punt return touchdown, kick return touchdown, or just be set up inside the enemy's territory because Shaheed picked up like 30 extra yards on the run back. So I really think a lot of things need to go like perfectly well for the Seahawks to blow them out. And if just one thing goes badly, like remember the muffed punt by the Rams 2 weeks ago? If that didn't happen, the Rams would be in this game. You know what I'm saying? Like, all you need is one play to shift everything and decide the outcome. I think it's a one possession game. Really, anything can happen. But Huham says week 17 was first week. Milton Williams was back, probably wasn't 100% or rusty. Yeah, that was a weird game. But those are some 85 Bear stats. I mean, yeah, like to give up only 19 rushing yards in a game, that was week 8. So maybe their opponent was like, I don't know, the Saints and like Camaro went down or something. But yeah, their schedule also contributes to this. The Patriots' schedule was the easiest in 30 years. So it's not like they had to really go above and beyond to put up some of these stats. But this is a very fair point. Who doesn't love Vrabel? I will enjoy seeing Vrabel win. I think that's one of the few players I can like really root for. I also like Christian Gonzalez. I love Travion Henderson, but he's not a big part of their offense. Otherwise, the Patriots are just whatever. Who cares? Anyways, we are going to hop into that draft now. A reminder, promo code BLUNT gets you $75 in entries. And appreciate everyone for hitting the like. We have accomplished our 15 like goal. So let's get that out of the way. And then I think this is what I'm looking for. Yes, here we go. This is the tab. We will be hopping in. These are my picks. $5 wins you 201. And good luck to all of us if we're gonna trail that alongside the channel. But let's hop into the lobby. Let's find what we're looking for. We will be drafting in a big board, a $10 big board, 20-second pick clock. All you have to do to get your money back, at least, is finish top 3 out of 12 in this lobby. And that is at least the minimum we are trying to accomplish. Beyond that, we would then hop into a 10-person group. We would need to finish first out of 10, where I believe, how much money do you get if you win that one? You would double your money. Okay, so understand, only like 10% of people are even going to double their money after it gets cut down to a quarter. So you have a 2.5% chance of doubling your money, a 25% chance of getting your money back. However, if you finish first in the following pod, if you somehow win again in week 16 and you make the final, 558 people will win a minimum of $500. $10 to $500, that's not bad. That would be similar to our entry for the Super Bowl, where you can turn $5 into $200. Just a little bit better than that. Where the real money lies is if you can finish in the top 50. You win $5K for finishing top 50. You win $1,000 for just finishing top 300. That's actually pretty dope. But if you somehow finish first, you win $200,000. The odds are pretty slim, but that's what the tournament's all about. Somebody will win $200,000 with one of these drafts. So now you know the rules. We are drafting 2 running backs on this team in the starting roster, 3 wide receivers, 1 bench, 1 flex spot, 1 tight end, 1 quarterback, and then 12 bench spots. We're going to go 20 rounds deep. If you want to join me, I'm on a 7-second delay. I will be hopping in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hit the button right now, and I will be joining you. Hopefully, we're in the same pod. 4 spots left. If you would like to take one of them, be my guest. This pod is full, and good luck to everyone who got in here with me. And hope you enjoy. This will be our only draft of the stream. But it's been so far pretty fun. Definitely excited for the game a little bit. I'm also like dreading it just a little bit. I don't want to watch the Patriots win another Super Bowl. But we'll see what happens. Not going to be too bitter, even if that happens. But I recognize Nap Ball in here at number 3. I recognize Ladies First. I mean, we've drafted with Ladies First a few times. So I assume he is watching, but maybe he's just a volume drafter, and it just is a coincidence. But also Green Bean is in here. I recognize Green Bean. I also recognize Dirty P. Welcome, my friend. And we drew the 105. So we're going to be in the middle of this board. And I usually don't draft wide receiver in round 1. So this might be a JSN team. It might be a Jamar Chase team. Who knows? Maybe we get Jahmyr Gibbs to fall. I doubt it, but maybe. And wish me luck. I hope things go well for everyone watching and in the audience in this draft. But Shamrock said, how do your underdog drafts go for 2025? Not too bad. So I drafted a total of 279 teams in the summer in regular 2025 best ball. My projected advance rate was about 52, and I advanced 61. So I did better than baseline. I was a little bit better than what was expected. I advanced 61 of those teams. After that, I advanced 11 of them to week 16, so I did okay. I believe my expected advance rate for that was 9. And then out of the 11, I was expected to advance 1. I advanced 2 to the final week. And overall, let me make this pick. We will go JSN and just see how this team shakes out. We have not drafted many wide receiver 1 in round 1 teams on the live stream. But in the final week, I had 2 teams live in the best ball finals. That was the best I've ever done. I had never had any teams make it to week 17 previously. And I've also never drafted more than like 200 teams before this year. So I am learning. I am getting a little bit better. But overall, I invested about $1,800 in the summer. And in best ball winnings, I did get back about $1,300. So I did lose money. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I did lose money. Unfortunately, when we were in week 17, we did not reach the high-end payouts to have exponential growth. We only finished 81st in the puppy. Or no, it wasn't the puppy. It was like, I'm forgetting which one it was. It was something. I was in the Badge Bros Brawl and then one other tournament. And I think that one was the Pomeranian. It was the Pomeranian. I finished like 81st or something in the Pomeranian, and I won like $400. And then in the Badge Bros Brawl, I finished like outside the top 300. I did terrible in Badge Bros. So that one didn't give me any extra money. I won like $250 on the tournament as a whole. But overall, we turned $1,800 into about $1,300. And then with all of my pick'ems, I did break even on the year. My pick'ems is where I was in the green. On best ball, I did lose a total of $500 out of $1,800. I'm keeping it 100% real and honest. That's what happened. I lost $500 in best ball. Roughly around a quarter of my entry fees I lost. And then with all my pick'ems, I did make that back. And then some. I won about $850 in my pick'em entries over the course of the season, and then I lost about 500 in best ball. So overall on the year, I'm plus 350. So I'm fine with that. As long as I break even, I don't give a shit. I would have loved to win like 20K, but it wasn't in the cards. That's how my 2025 best ball season did go. Real Fantasy Football Talk is in at the 103 and pulls up Breece Hall at pick 22. I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all, my friend. I think that's a pretty legit pick. I'm comfortable taking Chase Brown there personally. I think that's a fine pick as well, but I do not hate Breece Hall at the 210. At the 210 overall, I don't think Breece Hall is a bad pick at all. I kind of like that. I took Derrick Henry to pair with JSN. We talked about Derrick Henry in our last live stream. I could argue that Derrick Henry should be going in at the 1-2 turn, like where Justin Jefferson is going. You know, Derrick Henry had 4 touchdowns and 250 yards in week 17 last season. Against the Packers, Derrick Henry fucking shredded them. He was the guy you needed to win Best Ball Mania. So he's not washed. He's just a freak athlete. I know he's old, but he plays with Lamar Jackson. He's going to have touchdown opportunities. He's going to be fine. So maybe not the most yardage. Probably doesn't finish like top 4 on the season. But any given week, Derrick Henry can win the position. So happy to have him. We have JSN Derrick Henry. That's perfectly fine in my book. But here we are. We could go Josh Jacobs, but there's some weird vibes with him in Green Bay. He's also getting older, got pretty injured last season. I like Kenneth Walker. Walker's pretty young. Same draft class as Breece Hall. And with the injury to Zach Charbonnet, I think it's a pretty safe lock that he re-signs with Seattle. I would be pretty shocked if they do not bring him back. So we have 2 Seahawks on this team. We're definitely setting up a Darnold stack. I don't hate that at all. And then we also have Derrick Henry, pretty strong running backs, and a top 3 receiver. Not bad. Not bad at all. I like this team through the first 3 rounds. But Huhaim says, just did the exact same thing to get him with another 3rd round running back. I assume, yeah, so you started JSN Derrick Henry as well recently. It's not a bad combo. I don't feel like I'm at a disadvantage at all with this start. Like, I want 2 running backs in the first 3 rounds, no doubt. And if I can get one of the lock, like, best receivers in the game with JSN, then I think I'm in very, very good shape. So far, this is a good team. We don't start wide receiver in round 1 very often, but I think if you are going to do it, JSN is a perfectly good candidate to do that with. I think I can make this bigger. Here we go. Yeah, I can zoom in a little bit. But Huhaim says now with Breece Hall, then went Bucky, who I'm not a fan of. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, Bucky's a little bit tricky. I think relative to the position, what is this? Like running back like 14, 15 already? Yeah, Bucky goes at RB 15. I think when you see it that way, it's fine. Relative to the position, I'm fine with Bucky. But compared to A.J. Brown, I think I'd rather go A.J. Brown. I think I'd potentially rather go Garrett Wilson. I think I, at this point in time, would prefer Josh Jacobs as well. But if you tell me that Rachaad White leaves and the Bucks only re-sign Sean Tucker, don't draft someone, then I think Bucky is absolutely worth it in round 3. I don't hate it at all if all of those things happen. But if you tell me they draft like Adam Randall or someone, I'd be a little bit concerned about the touch split. But if you tell me Bucky can somehow get like 75% of the carries and snaps next year, then I think he's absolutely a fine pick. He could crush, he could be more valuable than Jeremiah Love as well, but I could also see him just be like fine, just like still RB 12 range. So at RB 15 overall, I don't think that's bad. I think it's fine. It's just it feels a little steep to be drafting running back 15 in the 3rd round. But I took Walker RB 14 off the board, but I think Walker can finish top 10. So I think he's like just a good value. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna go Zay Flowers, and we're gonna take our chances. I think we can risk getting Lamar Jackson to circle back. Because if I took Lamar Jackson there, I'm not going to be able to stack him up with Zay Flowers. So I'll take him here and make the gamble that these 4 teams are going to pass on Lamar. I've seen it happen. I've seen Lamar fall to like late round 5. So it's not likely. It's not a guarantee. But I'm willing to take that shot by grabbing Zay Flowers here. We have Derrick Henry and Zay Flowers, so we're the only team around the turn that has any Raven to stack up with Lamar. I'm a little worried about Lamar, not going to lie. Last year wasn't like a phenomenal production from him. He really looked like shit towards the end of the season, but it's just a matter of if he gets hurt or not. If he doesn't get hurt, he's going to be great. That's really the only thing I care about. Does he get hurt or not? So it's best ball. You have to draft optimistically. You have to assume that everyone will stay healthy. You have to draft and assume that you're correct with some of your early picks and then try to make like some decisions and hedges. We do see Lamar Jackson go at 48. So I knew it was a gamble. I knew it was a risk, but we did get 3 teams to pass on him. Maybe if that 4th one decided to pass, we would have gotten lucky and threaded the needle, but it's worth the risk. I don't think Lamar is like that safe. Like he's valuable enough to go here, but I also don't know if he's as safe to finish in the top 3 this season, just because last year we saw some of the risk that factored in. His injury concerns, I think, is legitimate, and you never know. He didn't want to run anywhere near as much last season as he had in the past. And now his head coach is gone, so he has even more of like an influence in the building. But I'm tempted to go Carnell Tate, to be honest with you here, but we have JSN. I think I'm going to go DeAndre Swift. I do not like the price on RJ Harvey at all. Meanwhile, I think DeAndre Swift is one of the like more valuable options, and Swift usually goes like later, sometimes even in round 6. So I'm just going to take who I want the most. I don't really care which receiver comes back or even quarterback, to be honest. I'm just going to get ahead at running back and take who I think is a tier break at the position. Shamrock says, how did you do in your regular leagues? I only did 2 this year. I've whittled it down to just 2 in my personal life. The channel demands so much of my time and energy. I feel like I can really focus and I really enjoy both of the leagues that I'm in when it's just 2. I'm probably going to do a few more this upcoming season. I would love to get a new league running, hopefully with like some other YouTube people. So I'm thinking about that. I will try to reach out for that soon. So hopefully next year will be more. But I was in 2 leagues. I made the playoffs in both, and I was the 4 seed in both. We did not get the bye, but actually I only missed the bye by 1 game in both leagues. So pretty competitive leagues. I actually in the Blunt League, I think I was the 4 seed, and then my other league I was the 5 seed. But I still only missed by 1 game. Sadly, that is why I did not win. Both of my teams had phenomenal outputs, but in week 15 in the wildcard round, I just got the worst matchup possible. I finished 2nd in points in both the subscriber league and my home league, and I faced off against the only person that could beat me in both of them. So I really got unlucky, and then my PPR league, I would not have won. I would have lost the following week, but that league I didn't care as much about. In the Blunt League, I had the highest score in the playoffs in week 16, and then again I had a winning score in week 17, but I was eliminated in week 15. So sadly, I lost in the wild card round. If I had not gotten that matchup, I would have won the whole thing, and that's just how it goes sometimes. Sadly, Isaiah Likely's bagel did cost me. I dropped 160 points in the wild card round, and I lost by 8 points because Isaiah Likely put up a bagel. That shit was brutal. That one was sad, but I don't love Cortland Sutton, to be honest here. I actually prefer Mike Evans a little bit. The Broncos are in a kind of a weird situation, and Sutton is like going to be 31 years old. So if I'm going to take an old guy, give me Mike Evans, someone that's capable of dropping 14 touchdowns and 1,000 yards. Sutton, I think, is going to be fading a little bit. That's my take on it. I have Evans currently ranked above of Cortland Sutton. So there was a bit of a run on quarterback there. We kind of got prevented from drafting one at a good value. So sadly, that's what I was hoping to do. I did not really want to take Tyler Warren. But let's just grab our third receiver. Let's go Mike Evans, who is a free agent, might be going to another team. And I think even if he's in Tampa, he'll be fine. Just a question of health. But if he goes to like, I don't know, like the 49ers, hypothetically, he would be elite. I think Mike Evans going in round 6 has absolute league-winning potential, 100%. I like drafting Egbuka in the 4th round, and I think Evans should be a 5th-round pick. He's going in the 6th. So I think Swift is also a clear 5th-round pick. We took him, and we take Evans in the 6th. Bob Hope says I'm going Pats with the points crazy. I think getting points with the Pats is a pretty solid value as well. I think that's pretty legit. Jamie says I might be interested in a league. I usually keep my redrafts to about 4 to 5. I will keep you posted, Jamie. I'm not sure if I want to do a dynasty league with some other YouTube people or just another like listener league. But I got a lot of time to hammer that out. Keep an eye out on an update on that. But we are on the clock. There were some running backs taken I didn't want, and I should probably grab quarterback, in all honesty. I want to take Fannin. I would love to argue for Fannin, but I don't think I can justify it given the state of the quarterback position and the fact we are around the long turn, and both the Brian Thomas and Parker Washington team are on that side. I like Trevor Lawrence quite a bit. I have a lot of Justin Herbert teams as well, but in all honesty, I really like Trevor Lawrence next year. Oh, whoops. Sorry. Apologies on that. That was an accident. Also, apologies if the board is covered up. Apologies. Just apologies for everything. What am I looking for? Here we go. And then this can probably go up a little bit. There we go. There it is. That's the best view. Sorry. Let's lock it. Okay. I'm going to take a quick smoke break. I'm going to finish this pipe if you would like to join me, be my guest, but we'll be right back in about 10 seconds. There it is. The bowl is cleared. So far, I think that Trevor Lawrence pick was wise. We had a very strong run on the quarterback position. Even Jordan Love was taken. I'd much rather have Trevor Lawrence than Jordan Love. Liam Cohen, I trust. I genuinely think a good play caller really makes the difference in this range of the draft, and Liam Cohen and all those weapons in the passing game, I think, really boost the value for Trevor Lawrence. We almost got Jacoby Myers. That would have been sick, but sadly, no. Instead, we're getting a 10-pick drop on Stephon Diggs. I'll take it. Not my favorite pick, but 10 picks past ADP. We want this team to be as unique as possible. That's what we're doing. Grabbing the value on Stephon Diggs. At least at this point in time, he is under contract as a number 1 receiver for the Patriots. And Drake May is going as the quarterback 4. In this draft, he goes as the QB 5, excuse me. But definitely some confidence in Drake May going into next year. So give me Stephon Diggs. Let's hope he stays healthy. But a little bit worried. We have both Mike Evans and Diggs, 2 old guys that don't give me like a lot of excitement. But touchdowns should be pretty solid. I could also see Diggs get traded, honestly. I could see that happen. I feel like his contract is like also pretty reasonable. 20 mil. Maybe not. 20.6 next year for Diggs. Where will we be going on the next one? Who Hames thinks Diggs will stay? Most likely, but imagine if they trade for AJ Brown. You don't think they're gonna ship out Diggs as compensation, like at the drop of a hat? If they could get AJ Brown, they'll do it. But I'm tempted to go Baker or Brock Purdy here. Baker would stack up better with Evans, but I also don't think Evans is going to play for them. I genuinely think there's a chance he could even go to somewhere like the Niners. The Niners already have like an all-star roster. Why not add another Hall of Famer? Give me Brock Purdy. Let's go with an underrated potential stack of Purdy and Mike Evans. They have to replace Brandon Ayuk. They got to replace Juwan Jennings potentially if they don't resign him. And then Ricky Pearsall, I don't think is the answer. Ricky Pearsall can't stay healthy. He's been shot in the chest. So many different things going on. I definitely think they have not gotten the confidence in Ricky Pearsall to bet on him as like their only guy next year. So I definitely think the Niners will be in the market for a veteran receiver. I could see Evans go to the Niners, but will it happen? Who the fuck knows? Just a little interesting tidbit as like a possible chance. That'd be fun to fall into a Brock Purdy, Mike Evans stack. That'd be pretty dope. But I think grabbing quarterback there was pretty wise. We see Baker and Jared Goff come off the board, and otherwise, quarterback's pretty thin. Like, only Tyler Shuck, Sam Darnold left on the board. Then it's Mendoza, and then, like, the grab bag of Bryce Young through Michael Penix, J.J. McCarthy. Like, none of those give me a lot of confidence, except maybe Cam Ward. Like, even Kyler doesn't inspire me at all. Kyler, I think, is a major trap. I told y'all not to draft Kyler last year. I was very right on about that. I literally had Kyler at like 2% when the season was over. I never drafted Kyler. If you ever saw me draft Kyler, I was vomiting on camera. I was actively warning everyone against Kyler. Going around like pick 100 last year. He was like the quarterback 8 off the board, and it was like the worst fucking pick in my opinion. And oddly, all his receivers were good picks, but he was very accurately a terrible, terrible pick. Sweet. That team does not take Sam Darnold. I have a little bit of hope I get Sam Darnold with my pick at 116. Definitely I have the stack set up for it. That team goes Coker. We got to avoid one more team. Ladies first can definitely do it, but nope, they do not sign me. They take Addison at 115. That's a great price on Addison. Holy shit. But I'll take Darnold. We have Trevor Lawrence, Brock Purdy, Sam Darnold. We're done at QB. And we have Kenneth Walker and JSN stacked up with Darnold. We were definitely in the market for the Seahawks quarterback. So I've been noticing that I like drafting 3 quarterbacks by the time Darnold is off the board. I think if you can get Darnold or Tyler Shuck or anyone above them as your QB3, you have probably the best room in the bunch. Like, unless the team that takes Allen also grabs, like, you know, Joe Burrow hypothetically, then that's pretty hard to beat. But in general, if I have someone in round 7, any of the round 7 quarterbacks on my team as the QB1, and by the time we hit Darnold, I have 3 total, I love the roster. I've really been liking the rosters. The way that quarterback has been priced up so much, I really think it's like very unsafe once you pass the Darnold threshold and Tyler Shuck area, and it's just not that inspiring to me. So maybe we're overspending on that position. We don't have a tight end yet, but that's the position I prefer to push in general. And we have 3 really good running backs in Derrick Henry, Kenneth Walker, DeAndre Swift. We have JSN, Zay Flowers, Mike Evans, and Stephon Diggs. I don't see a weakness so far with this team, but I will take George Kittle here. We'll hope for the best. Definitely a risky pick, but Eyeing an expedited return from injury. If he's active, he's definitely capable of putting up tight end one numbers any given week. So at the moment, we get a big discount. If you tell me Kittle starts practicing in July, he'll be going above Tyler Warren probably. So at the moment, we're probably getting one of the cheapest prices on Kittle of the year. I'll take that, especially with our Brock Purdy stack. Feels good despite some risk. We're going to definitely be drafting 3 tight ends in the first place. So give me someone capable of winning the week at the position. But Who Hames, I'm not totally sure what this is in reference to. I've fallen behind on the chat. Apologies. Is this like in reference to having both like Evans and a rookie on the Niners? That's definitely probably. Oh no, Diggs and AJ. Well, yeah, but like the contract situation is a dilemma. If you pay for AJ Brown and also give up a bunch of draft picks, like, can you really afford to be paying Stephon Diggs? Or wouldn't you rather like split up that 20 mil between like, 4 depth players? That's how I see it. Like, you got to make the contracts kind of worth it, and like, also the Eagles would, I think, want another receiver. Maybe they would want like Kayshon Boutte, but I could see them take Diggs in return. But yeah, it's definitely possible they have both. Absolutely possible. He is under contract. But we're at pick 140, and KC Concepcion has fallen a full round, full 12 pick discount on KC Concepcion. I have mentioned it. I am watching enough content, other creators that know their shit more about these rookies than I do, to feel like there are some names I'm comfortable with. KC Concepcion is one of them. And then in general, my overall strategy for drafting rookies is give me a discount on them. As long as I get a sizable discount, I will be in on drafting them, because you have to understand, once they're in the player pool, once they're being drafted in the top 200 picks, they're going to be relevant in the season. You're going to have to go up against all of the other teams that also have KC Concepcion. Maybe he's a bad pick. Maybe he crushes. Maybe he's like worthy of a 4th round price by the end of the year. We have no idea where he's going to go. So as long as I'm getting a discount, especially a 12 pick full round discount on a rookie like this, then I will take him. I have also heard some very promising, exciting reports regarding KC Concepcion. So not a bad player. I believe I saw PPR Tyler with a live stream today where he's going to be breaking down KC Concepcion. Maybe I'm confusing him with someone else. I believe if that wasn't today, it was like a few days ago. Check out PPR Tyler's channel. I want to shout out PPR Tyler with some great rookie breakdowns, even risking the policy strikes to give you excellent content with rookie previews. So shout out PPR Tyler. But that team goes Jerry Jeudy. I don't really believe that Shaheed is going to stay with Seattle. It's definitely possible. I kind of want to take Charbonnet. I haven't taken Charbonnet at all this summer, but you know what? Fuck it. Let's go Shaheed, because Shaheed is like a great best ball asset. Shaheed can give you like one catch for 15 yards one game, and then give you like a 3-week stretch where like he drops like 5 total touchdowns and like 18 yards per reception, and like multiple games like over 80 yards. Like Rashid Shaheed is a house call waiting to happen. So in best ball purposes, he is a great pick. He's been going historically closer to pick like 110, 105. He usually goes at like the 9-10 turn last couple years. So right now we're getting a 40 pick discount on where he normally would go. And if he stays with Seattle, while yeah, he's less valuable, we have the Darnold stack already. We have the Seahawks build where it makes total sense. The correlation is there. And then there's the scenario where he doesn't stay with Seattle and then is just far more valuable as one of the highest paid free agent wide receivers in the NFL this year, especially if they win the Super Bowl. That Shaheed trade is a major reason why he's definitely going to be valuable. And if I had to guess, as a free agent, he's just going to follow Clint Kubiak once again. I would assume Rashid Shaheed is probably going to get the bag from the Las Vegas Raiders and be, if not their wide receiver 1 who they draft, their wide receiver 2, and is a huge asset in that offense. So I like the price on Shaheed. I wanted to go Charbonnet a little bit, but Charbonnet is also very injured, has a torn ACL, might not play until like November at the earliest. Also, might not play at all. He got hurt in late January. So I still think Charbonnet will have some value, but at the moment he hasn't been picked yet. And we took Shaheed. I don't regret it at all. I think that was the right choice, especially with how this build is going. With the Darnold triple stack with Walker, JSN, and Shaheed. Even if he's not part of the stack, he probably has more value. More value than this ADP would suggest. Like, really? You trust Travis Hunter over Rashid Shaheed right now? I don't. I like Pat Bryant a lot, but I don't trust Brandon Ayuk right now over Rashid Shaheed. They're both free agents. I think Shaheed is definitely going to be more coveted. And it might be a perfect strategy to pass on Charbonnet. We might be getting Charbonnet here at pick 164 if ladies first passes as well. And they do. They go Kamani Vidal. So fuck it. I'm going to go heavy on Seahawks. I don't see why not. We're getting a discount on Sharbs. And I think I can still get a running back I kind of like on the way back around. That's definitely a position I've ignored for quite some time. We started off strong with Derrick Henry, Ken Walker, and DeAndre Swift. And now we just got another full round discount on Charbonnet. That's like, what is it, 3 or 4 players? I've gotten a full round discount already. We got a 12-pick discount on Charbonnet. Yes, please. We got a 10-pick discount on Stephon Diggs. We got a 12-pick discount, so full round on Casey Concepcion. And then, once again, I got 7 picks discounted on Shaheed. So we've been getting really good values, especially at wide receiver, since the Diggs selection. There's like 4 picks on this team that are just like really, really valuable, straight up. Regardless of like whether or not they correlate. They're just good picks based on value. Huhaim says, if you are worried about the 20 mil Diggs is making, you aren't trading for AJ's contract and giving up high equity. I mean, like, really? You'd rather pay 20 million to Diggs and at like 31 years old than like acquire AJ Brown and reunite him with Vrabel? I disagree, Huhaims. I disagree. I think the Diggs asset in the trade allows you not to overload draft picks. You know, like, you're already getting a proven star wide receiver. Diggs has played very well on multiple teams. Like, that's a considerable asset, and in exchange, maybe you don't have to relinquish like a 3rd round pick. I'd rather have AJ Brown in a 3rd round pick than Stephon Diggs and the picks that I don't have to give up to acquire AJ Brown. That's my take on it, but I could also be wrong. Damn. I really want to take AJ Barner, but I've also kind of overloaded on Seahawks a little bit. So instead, I'm going to go Rachaad White. I'm going to take Rachaad White because he's the last running back in this tier. He's also a free agent, so some really high upside if he finds the right spot. We're getting a slight discount on him as well. So we go Charbonnet and Rachaad White at that turn there. And AJ Barner was an option, but I think it was a little overkill to like force all of these Seahawks onto the team. Like, maybe it was the right pick. It's definitely justified, but I felt like I preferred the value on Rachaad. We've also been lucky with a lot of players falling. It's possible as the Darnold stack holder, maybe no one else is interested in Barner. Maybe he falls again. Who knows? Oh, yes. Gotcha. Yeah. No, yeah. The Diggs would be part of the trade to acquire AJ Brown. That's my take on it. If they do trade for AJ Brown, I can't imagine they would be dying to like give up Kayshon Boutte. You know, I think Kayshon Boutte is definitely a player you'd rather keep, especially with his contract much cheaper. If they have to give up Pop Douglas, you know, I'm sure they'd be fine with that. But in terms of contract and like, you know, big name compensation, Diggs for AJ Brown and some picks feels plausible. I wouldn't guarantee it. I would never guarantee any trade in the NFL, but that's where my thinking is. Gotcha. But A.D. Mitchell, Isaac Tesla go at the turn. We do see A.J. Barner to team 11, so that's fine. It kind of felt like an unnecessary player to target. Justified, but I'm already betting so heavily on JSN. It's not that necessary. Not critical. If you told me Barner came back around at 188, I would totally take him. But really, the player I was coveting was Torrey Horton. He goes to Green Bean at the 1605. Sadly, we don't get that stack. That's the one I think is more valuable. Torrey Horton is my boy. I have literally over 50% Torrey Horton exposure in all my drafts so far. I have been fiending with the Torrey Horton investment. Shit. This is a little bit ugly. Problem with Dalton Schultz, he doesn't score touchdowns, but not bad last year. Here's the thing. I have George Kittle. I've taken on some risk. So we're getting a slight ADP discount on Dalton Schultz, and I'm going to go to the safer player. To pair up George Kittle, who may not be active for a while, with someone that's like really reliable and pretty consistent with Dalton Schultz, I think he will maintain his role in that offense. I believe he's still under contract, but let me confirm that real quick. Yes, he has one more year with the Texans. He's only 29 years old, so has not fallen off. He's 6'6". That always helps. Only problem is he just wasn't scoring many touchdowns. Only 3 touchdowns last year and over 700 receiving yards. So Schultz is much more of a floor play, but his path to 10 points isn't insane. So with the risk of like George Kittle, I'll take someone like Schultz and be fine with it. But in all honesty, tight end gets a little gross at this point. So names I like are like Gunnar Helm. We don't have any like major stacking options other than Jake Tonjes. So if we get stuck with Jake Tonjes, I'd also be fine with that. I think with someone like Schultz, I'm fine just getting the handcuffed tight end, honestly. If there's any handcuffed tight end that's actually worth it, it's Jake Tonjes. So I'll be mindful of that, but not going to reach if I don't have to. I also can get anyone else, and it's going to be fine. It's not critical if we miss out on Jake Tonjes. But so far, we got 3 quarterbacks. We're done there. 5 running backs. I don't need to push it at that position. I've got 6 receivers, so I can get back to that and be okay with it. And then tight end is also something to keep in mind. In all honesty, I kind of like Kyle Williams. But you know what? Oh shit! I left Gunnar Helm at the top of the queue. Okay, we're not taking Jake Tonjes. I'm fine with Gunnar Helm. I'm fine with that. Jake Tonjes is more of a hedge as well. Like in the scenario where George Kittle's perfectly fine and plays a full season, I doubt that's going to happen. But let's be optimistic. Let's assume he's going to be fine. Then I'd rather have a tight end that's like legitimately spiking for me in general otherwise and like really contributing randomly than just the handcuff, like I think in the best case scenario where Kittle doesn't need Jake Tonjes handcuffed to work out, I'm definitely going to get more points at the position with someone like Gunnar Helm than Jake Tonjes as my number 3. So Kittle for the major upside, Schultz for a little bit of a floor to mitigate some risk, and then Gunnar Helm with the year 2 breakout potential. Chigo Okonkwo is going to leave, and I was hyping up Gunnar Helm as a very underrated acquisition for like 5 weeks to close out the season last year. Like the last month and a half to 2 months of the year, I remember mentioning Gunnar Helm repeatedly on the channel. I rarely ever ranked him inside the top 20, but he was always on my radar, always playing well. And if not for Okonkwo, he would have been a much safer play. In all honesty, he actually had very usable weeks down the stretch. So I know that Brian Dable does dial up the tight end a decent amount. I think Gunnar Helm will absolutely contribute at a high rate next year. I think his chemistry with Cam Ward was pretty well established. I like Gunnar Helm quite a bit as your tight end 3, but could have definitely passed. That wasn't critical. I almost went Jacoby Lane, who's still on the board at the moment, might fall back around. That would be a pretty solid price on Jacoby Lane, but who knows? These next 3 teams all have at least 7 wide receivers, so that's probably not their priority. Green Bean is on the clock. Just went Theo Johnson, Torrey Horton, Mason Taylor. And goes Omar Cooper Jr. Not bad at all. Omar Cooper Jr. also very hyped up rookie wide receiver. Very legit pick. I've also seen Omar Cooper Jr. not get drafted, but we do get Jacoby Lane to circle all the way back. Fuck it. Let's take a rookie. I don't think I have a rookie receiver on this. We have Casey Concepcion. I forgot about him. We don't have a rookie running back on this team. So haven't overloaded on rookies. I'm willing to take another one, and especially at a 14 pick discount. That sounds perfectly fine. Let's hope for the best, but Jacoby Lane is one of the players that will be in the player pool. Definitely going to be on a lot of rosters. Pretty much always goes drafted. And let's not be one of the teams that never takes a rookie like that. You should at least mix in the rookies, but there's a lot more risk. Later in the draft, though, there's a lot more reward as well. If he gets the perfect landing spot. Also, isn't Jacoby Lane like a USC wide receiver? That's usually a good sign. Yeah. Went to USC all 3 years. That's a good sign. Typically, USC wide receivers pay off. Usually, they figure things out. Just think of Amon-Ra St. Brown, Michael Pittman Jr. comes to mind, Juju Smith-Schuster, another name. Drake London, another USC wide receiver. I would not tell you Jacoby Lane is going to be drafted as high as Drake London, but who knows? He might get drafted sooner than Amon-Ra St. Brown was drafted. That's also possible. Am I really going to take Caleb Johnson? Damn, I never take Caleb Johnson. I mean, I guess it's worth taking a little bit. It's the 19th round. It's free. Okay, I'll do that. I don't love it, but last year he was going as like a top 70 pick. We're getting him outside the top 200. 221 for Caleb Johnson. Wow. What a fall from grace. Not excited about the pick, but they can't just like give up on him entirely. I also don't think Kenny Gainwell returns. It's at least fairly likely they do not bring back Kenny Gainwell. So if that's the case, then there's opportunity available. And who knows, Jalen Warren is just one injury away from giving up that role. So doesn't feel good, but it's fine at this price. Fuck it. Like, is he a worse pick than Claiborne or Hemby or, you know, didn't we have Singleton go at 186? Singleton just broke his foot. So, you know, any of these rookies could be elite picks, but Caleb Johnson might as well just be another rookie where at least we know what team he's going to play for. At least that element is not part of the equation. And for him to fall, I'll scoop him up. I don't take him ever, so get the taste out of my mouth. But yeah, that's the pick. Okay, our last pick is 100% a wide receiver. 100%. I do think Bateman's kind of interesting. I think Malik Washington is kind of interesting, but their quarterback situation's kind of stupid. Jack Betch actually piques my interest, not going to lie, because we spoke about Shaheed. If he goes to the Raiders, he'd be interesting, and Betch will be a year 2 player. Not many players catching passes for the Raiders these days, so that's some potential. Christian Kirk also has some potential. He's a name I'm willing to click. Hollywood Brown, no one ever takes him, but I believe he's under contract. Am I wrong about that? I've clicked him once. Oh no, he's a free agent. He's only 28 years old, but always gets hurt, so probably a terrible pick. Pop Douglas down here, that's interesting. Yoshivas also down here. You know what? Someone told me some phenomenal things about Antonio Williams. Haven't clicked his name yet. I forget. It was on the live stream. Was it Peanut Punch? I forgive you if I forget, but played all 4 years at Clemson, had 11 touchdowns. You know what? Let's go Antonio Williams. Haven't taken him yet, and I feel pretty good about the veterans I have on this roster where I'm willing to take another rookie. We didn't take a single rookie running back or quarterback or tight end, so 3 rookie receivers. Don't love it, but given the state of the position we're in right now, yeah, let's do it. Let's mix him in. Let's go Antonio Williams. Played for Clemson. Even as a rookie, had a pretty good season. 14 games, 56 catches, 604 yards, and 4 touchdowns. That's pretty legit for a rookie. Or I should say freshman. Yeah, true freshman. Apologies. True freshman with 600 yards. Then he gets hurt as a sophomore, only has 5 games, 224 yards. And then as a third-year sophomore, essentially a junior, 75 catches, 904 yards, so considerable leap forward after the freshman year. And then last season only played 10 games, but from a overall standpoint, pretty similar numbers in terms of yards per game. That's 60.4, down from 64.6. Only 4 touchdowns, though. Don't love to see that. That's kind of interesting. I imagine he didn't declare because of the injury, and who knows, maybe he just wanted to stay healthy. Didn't go crazy, but did have a nice little stretch here. 10 for 142 and a touchdown against Duke. That's not bad. Oh, he did get injured. He missed weeks 2 and 3, so he did get hurt. Yeah. Looks like in week 1 he went down. That's definitely going to slow you down. Okay, so really it was in 9 games. Yeah, that's encouraging. I especially like that he's kind of going undrafted, basically, at least for the most part. Not many people are drafting him. So here's a full reminder of the team. But Green Bean says, I almost took Jacoby Lane, but I just like Omar over him. That's pretty fair. Omar Cooper Jr. also pretty exciting. But can you tell me how many Indiana receivers are like historically playing out of their mind? Like, it's possible there's a little bit of like national championship bias when you evaluate any like player from Indiana, like Fernando Mendoza included. Like, I don't think he's bad. I'm not going to say he's bad. I've drafted Omar Cooper Jr. as well, but my stance these days is I'd rather just get the ADP discount. And I know Omar Cooper Jr. has a lower ADP, but let's just review my team. I'll review a few others. If you're in this lobby, please let me know. I don't want to forget about you. If you want your team reviewed, drop it down below. But I'll take a look at Nap Ball in the 103. I'll also take a look at Green Bean and Dirty P. But first, my team, we took JSN at the 105, followed by Derrick Henry, Kenneth Walker, Zay Flowers, and DeAndre Swift. Honestly, I love those first 5 rounds. Round 6, we took Mike Evans, my preferred pick based on who is available. I think in round 6, Mike Evans is a very, very safe pick. Only injury can slow him down. I do like Trevor Lawrence there before the run at the position. We did not stack him up. That's the only thing maybe I would like to take back. Like, perhaps I should have grabbed Mahomes and tried to get like Kelsey later on, but I don't care. I think Trevor Lawrence is the most valuable quarterback left on the board there. So took my most valuable, not upset about it. Then we took Diggs at a good value. Then we took Purdy, not to get behind on quarterback. Let's hope that someone like Evans signs with the Niners. But we did get Kittle 2 rounds later. So at the least we have that stack in the waiting. But I also wanted to get ahead of the tier break. Took the last quarterback I'm comfortable with, where I know what will happen and what to project. I took Darnold in the 10th round. Then we took Kittle for the stack, our tight end 1. We got a good value on Casey Concepcion. We also got a good value on Rashid Shaheed, and that was the correct pick because I almost took Charbonnet there, and I got him to circle back at 164. So yet another good value. We took Rashad White, a free agent, in round 15, and then I tried to play it a little bit safer at tight end, grabbing Dalton Schultz for the floor and Gunnar Helm for some upside, hoping for a year 2 breakout. But as long as Kittle is active, I don't think I'm relying on them too much. I think the tight end room is actually pretty viable. Then we got a good price drop on Jacoby Lane and Caleb Johnson. And then as a flyer in the final round, we took an undrafted Antonio Williams at the 236. The team is a 3-6-8-3 build, and I like it quite a bit. I really love my running back combo, especially with an elite receiver like JSN. So I think from this draft, what I've learned is if I'm getting a top 5 pick and I'm not getting Bijan or Gibbs, I am perfectly fine with my roster if I grab Puka, Jamar Chase, and JSN. Those 3 guys are like just so clearly better than every other wide receiver. They're just so much safer, and you cannot replicate those caliber points at the position. A wide receiver 1 that can finish top 5 is just so valuable. So we will move on, but I like this team quite a bit. Out of the 5 slot, I think it worked out. We also got Nap Ball in here at the 103. He went Puka and Breece Hall. We like the Breece Hall pick in the 2nd round. At least I did. Rashee Rice, a little bit risky, but if he plays a full season, he will absolutely pay off. Not going to say I hate it, but it is risky. Then Quinshawn Judkins and Javonte, not to fall behind at the position. I 100% understand it. That's where I might have gone running back instead of Rashee, but I think the way you tackled it in rounds 4, 5, and even 7 with Baishal Tutin is not bad, but I do think Tutin's a little bit pricey for my taste. The Tyler Warren selection, not bad, but at the moment, without knowing who the quarterback is, I do prefer Harold Fannon's ADP and even Tucker Kraft, to be honest, but I would still like to mix in Tyler Warren. I don't want to have 0% Tyler Warren, so I'm fine with that pick as well. Stafford as your QB1, after a bit of the tier break, that's where maybe instead of Tutin, you might have needed to go quarterback there in the 7th round, but still having Stafford stacked up with Puka, I don't think you can go wrong. I think he'll be elite yet again, so that's perfectly fine. Xavier Worthy, Khalil Shakir. In this range of the draft, I think they're 2 very compelling picks to make. I like Worthy's upside for sure, especially if Rashee misses any time. But then we have Goddard as your tight end 2, so pretty strong tight end room. Josh Downs, love the value on Downs. Downs is going way too late in my opinion. Downs should be going like around Khalil Shakir at the very least 2 rounds higher. So love the price on Downs. Daniel Jones, Kyler Murray scares the fuck out of me. This, I think, is very risky. I don't like it, but they both run the ball, so I understand it. But yikes. I gotta be honest with you there. This scares me quite a bit. Then Jonathan Brooks, so who cares about injuries? We just assume everyone's getting healthy. Then David Njoku, also highly injury-prone asset, but very talented, could drop like 20 points any given week, so that's not a bad pick. I do click on Njoku as well quite often. Then Keon Coleman, risky, but you had Shakir, so you're already investing in the Bills receiving core. Claiborne, I don't have a solid take on. That's fine for now, but I genuinely don't know. And then Chris Bell, super late, so I think that's fine as well. And then Jaden Blue, also very compelling, interesting draft pick in the final round. Not bad with Jaden Blue, but a little bit of really risky selections here, rounds 13 through 15. I can't say I'm like in love with going Daniel Jones, Kyler, and Jonathan Brooks, but I'm sure you know the risk that's involved. I'm sure you already know. If I could change one thing, I might grab like, Trevor Lawrence or just a quarterback instead of Baishal Tutin. I think that might be the only thing I might change so that I can avoid needing Daniel Jones and Kyler. That would be my only takeaway from this roster. We got Green Bean. The leg must be swept. Ladies first with the block at 91. Yeah, this Jacoby Myers pick. Let me go full screen. The karma will come back. The karma will come back. That was a very frustrating snipe, I'm not going to lie. I didn't want to overreact when it happened, but yes, that was a very frustrating snipe. He got me with Strange as well. Yeah, he did. I mean, I guess I must have sniped him. He probably wanted him. Yeah, that's a bummer. But let's talk about Green Bean's team. Green Bean has CeeDee Lamb, Jeremiah Love. Then goes Tet McMillan. Very risky start, but an amazing value on Travis Etienne that I think makes all of it worth it. The running back room is pretty solid. Goes RJ Harvey there. That's fine, but I think there's a world where he is a terrible pick if J.K. Dobbins returns. Then Parker Washington. They were probably upset we sniped him on Lawrence as well. I personally can't quite get behind the Parker Washington price. I think he should be going around like Alec Pierce. I think personally it's a little too high for me. I get it, but I think I'd rather have Mike Evans than Parker Washington. That's my take on it. Maybe I'm wrong. Then goes Dak because the quarterback run was huge, so very necessary pick with Lamb on the roster. Like that pick a lot. Then goes Blake Corum, a backup running back in the 8th round. I like Corum, but personally it feels a little too high. Then goes Jadarian Price, another rookie. We'll see where the landing spot is. Then goes Jake Ferguson to complete the double stack. Then takes Jaden Higgins, a player I love last year, going 20 picks later, maybe 30 picks later than last year. So probably going to work out, but last year did not. Bryce Young, not a great pick in my opinion, but with the Tet stack, 100% the correct choice. QB was dead at that point, so got to get in while you can. And then 2 excellent picks. I love Pat Bryant. I love Jalen McMillan, where they're going. I think phenomenal values at the position. Love those picks. Theo Johnson and Torrey Horton. I also love that. I was pretty mad you sniped me on Torrey Horton, but I got a shit ton of them, so it is what it is. But Torrey Horton, possibly the steal of the draft in round 16. He got pumped up to round 16 at the end of last year, and he was a great pick before he got hurt. I love Torrey Horton. I really do. Then Mason Taylor, Omar Cooper Jr., Jeremy Bernard. I love the Omar Cooper, Jeremy Bernard selection. Super late. Those rookies are really, really enticing. Going super late. Love those picks, my friend. And then lastly, Khalil Mullings. I've never seen Khalil Mullings drafted. That is a bold take. Tennessee 3rd string running back. Are you just not a believer in Tony Pollard? That feels like a blind dart throw. Good luck with that. But in round 20, you can do what you want. Anything is justified in round 20. So I like the team. Quarterback is thin, but otherwise it's pretty solid. Running back works. Running back looks pretty solid with Corum and Price. It's got some depth to it. Mullings is whatever, but the receiving core is phenomenal. Love the receiving core. Maybe I wouldn't have taken Parker Washington, but I'm probably going to be wrong on it. One of Brian Thomas and Parker Washington is going to be amazing, and then the other one I think is not going to work out at all. But not bad at all. I like the team. Elite wide receiver, good running backs, tight end a little bit shaky, but not bad. And then quarterback is risky, but can definitely work. Wouldn't be shocked if it worked, but that's definitely the weakness. Quarterback rather thin on this roster. Lastly, I recognize Dirty P, so we'll bring up Dirty P real quick. He went Jacobs. Oh no, I thought he took Jacobs in the 1st round. Holy shit. No, Dirty P is here in the 10 slot. He goes Amon-Ra, Drake London, Jacobs at 34. That's a really good price on Jacobs. That might have bailed you out considerably. Goes elite receiving core with Adams, Christian Watson, and Mekhi Lemon. Also adds Tucker Kraft and Jordan Love. So a great loaded Packers stack, but only Jacobs through the first 8 rounds. So running back is going to be thin. We have Algier and J.K. Dobbins. could work. We'll see how free agency goes, but definitely could work. Denzel Boston as well with Kayshon Boutte. So the receiving room on this team is just so fucking good. I have not seen a better receiving core than this one. Amon-Ra, London, Adams, Watson, Makai Lemon, Boston, and Boutte. Tell me you didn't draft another. Thank God, because that is already the best you could possibly find. So receiver is elite. With Jacobs, if he stays healthy, you could be super elite. And then if Kraft is healthy, you might have the tight end 1. So this team might be a juggernaut. Let's see how you landed the plane. You took Malik Willis and Michael Penix. I believe Willis will be a starter next year, if not be competing for like the Dolphins job or the Cardinals job. I think he's going to follow one of the LaFleur connections, either the Dolphins head coach that was from Green Bay last year, or Mike LaFleur, who's the Packers coach's brother. I think those teams are likely going to bring in Malik Willis, so I think he is a solid pick. And then we have Michael Penix, who I believe will be the starter for the Falcons. I think the Falcons are probably going to cut Kirk Cousins, but Penix didn't quite prove himself. Penix got hurt. Penix wasn't awesome, but you also have London, so it's 100% justified. You also took Brian Robinson Jr., Terrence Ferguson, Emmanuel Wilson, Mike Washington, and Jordan James, and then wrapped it up with Michael Trigg at tight end. So a lot of flyers. Running back, as you know, is the weakness, but if Tyler Algier signs with the Chiefs, or just, let's say, signs with the Cowboys, hypothetically, you are in excellent shape. This team, I honestly love. I genuinely think this team is, like, phenomenal up and down the board. Like, if you're going to go risky at running back with the anchor to get the value on Jacobs with, like, just this elite of a receiving combo, with a tight end that's capable of winning the whole thing for you, with the multiple stacks, like, damn, bro, nice job. This is like an A draft. Watch Jordan James fill in for Christian McCaffrey. Like, holy shit, bro. This is a phenomenal, phenomenal team. I'm pretty envious of this team. I love my team, but I think this one might be better. Like, obviously my team is better at running back, so it's maybe a bit safer. But, like, if you happen to hit perfectly on Jacobs and, like, the running back combinations just work out, this team can 100% win it all. Good luck, Dirty P. Phenomenal job. I believe that's it. No one has asked for me to talk about them. We can mention ladies first real quick, just because they sniped me multiple times. The Myers selection was very, very annoying. And then I didn't even notice the Bretton Strange selection, but I got Casey Concepcion at a big discount. That one's fine. I was fine with that one, in all honesty. And then otherwise, those are the only 2 snipes that they enacted on ya boy. But need a CMC injury. Yo, if Jordan James is the guy and CMC goes down, I'm going to be living. I have a lot of Jordan James already. Green Beans has Mulling, just a dart throw that should be low owned and has a path, even if it's a little rough. Yeah, I mean, in round 20, anything is justified. I cannot fault you on a round 20 dart throw. I've taken Hollywood Brown. I've taken Jawar Jordan. I've taken randos there. So good luck, man. Good luck. I respect the game. And then last comment we'll mention is Shanzo Gonzo. Would you have taken Trigg or another running back like Hemby or Black? I've taken Trigg. I think we took him yesterday. I think Trigg is fine if you need tight end in the final round. I also think I would rather go Black over Hemby, but I think it's also justified to mix in Hemby as well. I think they're fine, but I prefer Kalen Black over Hemby, especially given Black goes undrafted. But that's going to be it for me. Hope y'all enjoy the big game tomorrow. And I will see y'all later. Peace out. Goodbye. Best of luck, and go Seahawks, baby. Let's go. Fuck the Patriots. They better not win. Bye-bye.